eulogy for little boy, and he kept asking the same question over and over. Who killed little boy? Who killed little boy? And the surface answer was the thug from the other gang killed little boy. But as I began to go deeper into the question, I began to realize that there were a lot of hands on that trigger. There were a lot of hands on the trigger that caused little boy to lose his life. And I wrestled with that question for many years. Who killed little boy? Until I finally came up with the answer. Who killed little boy? Number one, lack of knowledge killed little boy. Lack of knowledge killed little boy. Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, liberate the minds of men and you have ultimately liberated the bodies of men. Knowledge is power. And the most important knowledge for a little black boy in America is the knowledge of self. Lack of knowledge killed little boy. The second thing that killed little boy, misidentification with an enemy system, killed little boy. Misidentification with an enemy system killed little boy. A. Philip Randolph said, salvation for a race, a nation, or a class must come from within. It must come from within. The absence of community killed little boy. The absence of community killed little boy. The Honorable Jaramogi Abebe Ajiman, our founder, said salvation is a group experience. We have to free ourselves from individualism before we can transform our collective condition. And even though the movie was produced in 1974, some of the same things that killed little boy then are still killing little boy today. And so I'm saying that you and I, the same ones who held the gun that killed little boy, are the only ones who saved little boy. Jeremiah 31:15-18, the prophet said to the people of God, this is what the Lord says. A voice is heard in Ramah, mourning and great weeping. Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because her children are no more. But this is what the Lord says. Restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord. They will return from the land of the enemy, so there is hope for your future, declares the Lord. Your children will return to their own land. Your children will return to their own land. Jeremiah was telling the people of God that there was hope for their salvation. There was deliverance for their people. There was restoration of our little boys. Sometimes we act like our little boys don't even have a soul. But how do we do that? Well, we already have the most vital tool that we need, the black church. Spirituality is the only thing that can save our youth. I wish I had some help. Spirituality is the only thing that can save our youth. There is nothing else that can save them. All of your love ain't gonna save them. Whatever money you got in the bank ain't gonna save them. Whatever resources you have are not gonna save them. Ain't no lawyer you can pay for gonna save them. There's no court or no judge that's gonna save. The only thing that can save little boy is some God power. It's some God power. It's some God power. If you teach little boy to fear God, you ain't got to worry about the world. You ain't got to worry about the world. The black church has been a potent agent of revolution in the past, and it can be again in the future. But we have to be able to change, church. We have to be able to change and modify the way we do what we do so that it fits the reality that we live in. Somebody say, you can't put new wine in old wine skins. You see, our basic problem as the black church, I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the black church, has to abandon some old methods and old ways of thinking and old habits and traditions that have little or nothing to do with the way the world is moving and the problems and the challenges and the issues that are threatening our livelihood today. We stuck on STUPID. We stuck. We have to offer little boy an alternative to the ways of the world. If we teach our little boys about their culture and the power of their spiritual might, they will not walk blindly into the lion's den of consumerism and materialism and escapism and hedonism. Sat in classrooms with black boys. I know what our problems are. I know what the challenges are. I know what the issues are. I know what the need is. But you don't have to be a social scientist to know that little boys are at greater risk for negative educational and health outcomes than their peers. But what I'm saying about the black church is that rather than waiting for Jesus, rather than waiting for some well-meaning investors and social entrepreneurs and national interest groups that have done studies on at-risk children to come and fix our problem, we have to become stakeholders in the future of our own children. Frederick Douglass. Y'all know Frederick Douglass? Way back in the 1900s, Frederick Douglass said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So my question is, where is the black church? Where is the black church? Thanks to the mass media, fear and apathy are what's keeping us holding the gun pointing at little boy's head, rather than reaching out to embrace and nurture and cherish and uplift. The late distinguished scholar of African history, Dr. Asa Hilliard, said in the 21st century, we are not really raising our children. He said this just before he passed. He said, we are not raising our children anymore. What has happened to us? We have no systematic socialization structures for the masses of our children. They are raising themselves, or they're being raised by others. In other words, we have sold the spiritual essence of our own children to a mass media high-tech merry-go-round of confusion that feeds on human souls. And every day we throw them to the wolves. We just throw them to the wolves. And then we wonder why they going crazy. We have thrown them to the wolves. Say, eat them up, do whatever you want to do. We have thrown them to the wolves. Without our conscious awareness. And I'm not trying to be too hard on us. We don't even do it consciously. It's a mindless act. We don't even consciously do it. We're not even aware that we have forfeited one of the most vital functions of any people. The responsibility for intergenerational cultural transmission is the highest gift we can give to our children. And we have forfeited that gift. In the spirit of Booker T. Washington, we have to roll up our sleeves and figure out how to engage ourselves in the difficult task of raising and reaching out to our youth wherever they are. We have to figure out how to save little boy. and how to save little girl. Because if we save little boy and little girl, then we saving the black family, the black neighborhood, the black community. We are saving ourselves.